In this lecture, we will be discussing the set of inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs to the process of control resources. The set of inputs consist of component of project management plan like resource management plan, project documents such as issue log, lessons learned register, physical resource assignments, project schedule, resource breakdown structure, resource requirements, and risk register, work performance data, agreements, and organizational process assets. The set of tools, techniques to this process include data analysis, such as alternatives analysis, cost-benefit analysis, performance reviews, and trend analysis. Problem solving, interpersonal and team skills such as negotiation and influencing, and project management information system. The set of outputs to this process include work performance information, change requests, components of project management, plan updates such as resource management plan, schedule baseline, and cost baseline, project documents updates such as assumption log, issue log, lessons learned register, physical resource assignments, resource breakdown structure, and risk register. Let's discuss all of them. Control resources is the process of ensuring that the physical resources assigned and allocated to the project are available as planned, as well as monitoring the planned versus actual utilization of resources and taking corrective action as necessary. The key benefit of this process is ensuring that the assigned resources are available to the project at the right time and in the right place and are released when no longer needed. This process is performed throughout the project. The control resources process should be performed continuously in all project phases and throughout the project life cycle. The resources needed for the project should be assigned and released at the right time, right place, and right amount for the project to continue without delays. The control resources process is concerned with physical resources such as equipment, materials, facilities, and infrastructure. Team members are addressed in the managed team process. The control resources techniques discussed here are those used most frequently on projects. There are many others that may be useful on certain projects or in some application areas. Updating resource allocation requires knowing what actual resources have been used to date and what is still needed. This is done mainly by reviewing the performance usage to date. Controlled resources is concerned with monitoring resource expenditures, identifying and dealing with resource shortage, surplus in a timely manner, ensuring that resources are used and released according to the plan and project needs, informing appropriate stakeholders if any issues arise with relevant resources, influencing the factors that can create resources utilization change, and managing the actual changes as they occur. Any changes needed to the schedule or cost baselines can be approved only through the Perform Integrated Change Control process. Let's discuss the set of inputs to control resources process. Project management plan components include, but are not limited to, the resource management plan. The resource management plan provides guidance on how physical resources should be used, controlled, and eventually released. Project documents that can be considered as inputs for this process include issue log. The issue log is used to identify issues such as lack of resources, delays in raw material supplies, or low grades of raw material. Lessons learned register. Lessons learned earlier in the project can be applied to later phases in the project to improve physical resource control. Physical resource assignments. The physical resource assignments describe the expected resource utilization along with details such as type, amount, location, and whether the resource is internal to the organization or outsourced. Project schedule. The project schedule shows the resources that are needed, when they are needed, and the location where they are needed. Resource breakdown structure. The resource breakdown structure provides a reference in case any resource needs to be replaced or reacquired during the course of the project. Resource requirements. Resource requirements identify the needed material, equipment, supplies, and other resources. Risk register. The risk register identifies individual risks that can impact equipment, materials, or supplies. Work performance data contains data on project status, such as the number and type of resources that have been used. Agreements made within the context of the project are the basis for all resources external to the organization and should define procedures when new, unplanned resources are needed or when issues arise with the current resources. The organizational process assets that can influence the control resources process include policies regarding resource control and assignment, escalation procedures for handling issues within the performing organization, and lessons learned repository from previous similar projects.